Hello, my name is Mark Zaldivar, and I want to talk to you about using ePortfolios for outcome-based learning assessment. To get started, I'll introduce you to the ePortfolio process, show you some examples of how an ePortfolio approach has been integrated into different curriculum, and discuss some success factors for ePortfolio adoption. Let's begin by understanding what an ePortfolio is. An ePortfolio is the result of a process of asking students to demonstrate their learning by curating a collection of artifacts and reflections geared toward making that learning visible for a variety of reasons. The results of this process are numerous types of student artifacts, from writings and presentation files to images and videos, typically presented in an online format such as a web page. In an academic context, we say that ePortfolios can be used to make learning visible in new and useful ways. ePortfolios can take many different shapes and forms, but what matters with ePortfolios is the purpose to which they are applied. Today we'll be talking about ePortfolios applied to the idea of outcome-based assessment. For our purposes, I would define assessment as a formal process of understanding student progress along desired outcomes of learning, with the goal of providing helpful feedback to encourage the student's highest potential for success. In addition, the assessment process provides the instructor with information about the effectiveness of their instructional strategies in attempting to reach the learning outcomes desired. ePortfolios, then, provide a way to make the learning visible that students often are not able to demonstrate in more conventional methods of assessment, such as surveys and test results. Let's take a deeper look. The process begins with the student who is participating in the curriculum that you have designed. As they engage in the activities of the course and the program, students can be encouraged to create an ePortfolio that satisfies two conditions. They have a chance to select artifacts that demonstrate their notion of a competency in a given outcome, and two, they have a chance to reflect and comment on that competency and their attainment of it. In order to make this possible, students need to have 1. A clear understanding of the outcomes they're being asked to reach, and 2. What evidence will be considered valid for the demonstration of that outcome. Here's an example of a collection interface where the student is asked to satisfy a set of national outcomes. Working over a 2-year master's program and following a fairly simple procedure, they're asked to collect examples of work that they have done to demonstrate a particular teaching principle. In this case, knowledge of the English language. The work can be done in a variety of formats, as you can see here. In addition, the students are asked to create a short response to describe how they feel they have met the criteria for the outcome obtained. This gives a dual set of assessment data where assessors can evaluate both the work and the student's perception of that work simultaneously to better understand the learning that is happening or not. The results of this organization and reflection over time can build an impressive collection and curation of learning demonstrated in a variety of ways. Here, Crystal shows us her alignment of materials that satisfy outcomes, everything from PDFs containing assignments to audio and video of her teaching practices. A key aspect of ePortfolio work is communication about the outcomes and the criteria needed to meet those outcomes. This communication is often handled through the use of clear, thorough rubrics by which the students can choose representative work and communicate success and/or failure through a meaningful comment based on the criteria in the rubric. Here's another example using the same collection interface as before. This one, however, is used for a 15-week course rather than a 2-year master's program. Students are guided to which assignments need to be submitted into the portfolio. In the essay assignment, the students submit a first draft of the essay in a Word document. They also submit a copy of the evaluation rubric themselves as a form of self-evaluation. Peers in the class and the instructor then read the drafts and the other feedback into the portfolio by submitting another copy of the rubric. Students then submit a final copy of the essay along with the digital audio format of the essay, because the instructor can then listen to the essay as well as read it, along with a second reflection on the work. The instructor has quite a bit of information with which to conduct a meaningful formative assessment along the way, with opportunities for intervention and feedback, as well as a much larger set of information from which to do a final summative assessment to determine the student's success in attaining the learning outcomes of the course. In both of these examples, we might point to 4 success factors to consider if thinking about adopting an electronic portfolio for your courses and/or programs. First, portfolios, even for assessment, rely on having meaningful activities for students in order to capture meaningful assessment data. Allowing a wide array of experiences both in the classroom and in their personal life to be represented in the student work creates an engaged student. 2. In order to represent their work, there needs to be clear communication about how activities of the course are aligned with outcomes. In other words, if students have the opportunity to understand how the activities in the course are aligned with the outcomes of the course, and how they will be assessed along those outcomes, they have a greater opportunity at success. 3. Allowing as much student voice as possible in response increases the likelihood of getting effective assessment data. If everyone is asked to respond to the same exact question in the same format, you'll tend to get the same answer back. However, approaching this as an e-portfolio, you ask students to interpret the outcomes and discover their own ways to represent what they're learning. 4. Allowing flexibility and representation as much as possible gives students ownership over the e-portfolio and the artifacts. While the rubric should provide a clear set of criteria that allow for effective assessment to occur, allowing students choice in modes of representation where possible allows the instructor to see a wider approach to the learning outcomes and how students are receiving them. One more note specifically about technology. I would like to stress again that there's not one specific technology that is an e-portfolio, but that there are a range of technologies that help to support and extend the capabilities of this process of e-portfolio and making student learning visible. At Virginia Tech, for the last several years, we've been using a Sakai-based platform for a large amount of our e-portfolio assessment work. But over the years, we have seen a wide array of technologies used to support other assessment work. The examples I've shown you today were Sakai-based portfolios, but in the future Telos will continue to offer you an array of tools to support your assessment efforts. We're in the process of migrating to Canvas, and as we do, we will identify a set of tools to continue to support and grow ePortfolio use at Virginia Tech. So thank you. That was a quick high-level overview of how you might include an ePortfolio-based approach in your courses. If we can assist you in your assessment of student learning outcomes, just please let us know. I would encourage you to contact me at the email provided if you would like to discuss ePortfolio strategies for your particular case. Thank you for listening.